All right, everyone, welcome back to the channel. So, a couple of very interesting things that I want to show you guys on BTC. So, we all know the CPI numbers came out this morning, 6.5 as expected. So, not really a big effect on the markets, in my opinion, at least. But a couple interesting things to watch on BTC here. This is very interesting, in my opinion. So, the last time we had the MACD curled up over the zero line here and the RSI above the 50, we had this little pump to the upside before we came down off of this bear flag here, which, interestingly enough, this coincides with the FTX crash. So I don't know why that was the case, but out of this bear flag, we had this measured move down, or this move down on top of, I don't know if the FTX triggered it. Maybe it was going to bounce around a little more. That remains to be seen. It is history now. So, but what is very interesting here, first I want to point out from this first bear flag here, our measured move. If we push this down there or pull this down there, you can see it takes us right down here to where we came. If we take the measured move for this most recent bear flag that we are in here, we take this flagpole here and we move it down here. This actually takes us right down here to this macro support and resistance I have here. So these purple lines on the chart, like the ones up here, are macro support and resistance. So that's kind of interesting that this one here takes us pretty much down here to 12.5. So is BTC going to drop down to 12.5? I do not know. But the last time, we were above the zero here and above the 50 on the MACD and RSI, we hit the top, fell off the table. We're at that again. The MACD is above the zero. We have the RSI up above the 50. And we're up here at resistance at the top of this flag here at this 0.5 at 18.2. So is BTC about to take a huge dump? It remains to be seen. So that's what I wanted to point out there. And one other thing that's very interesting, I've pointed this out on previous Bitcoin updates. If we switch over here to the 3-day or the weekly, whatever you want to look at, I think it may be the weekly. We'll switch to the weekly here. If we switch over here to the weekly at our most recent highs that we had, double top here. So from this double top pattern, if you take this measured move here, which if you go look at my previous BTC video, I put a photo of the way this measured move works. So if we take this move here and we move it down here, to where this thing broke down from support, it took us down here to the bottom where this thing came down to after it lost this support here. So it's very interesting how these patterns seem to work out almost perfectly, especially on BTC here. So switching back over to the daily chart, I just wanted to point that out there that most recently we've had these chart patterns that played out almost to a T. The one before this bear flag here, you can see we had this rising wedge pattern, and usually on a wedge pattern, you come back down to the bottom of the wedge, which you can see it did here. It came back down to the bottom of the wedge here at this support. So we have that pattern there that played out. We have this bear flag here with this measured move coming almost directly to the bottom of the flagpole. So this most recent one here, we're getting stuck at the 0.5. So is BTC about to dump, and our next target is about 12.5. We'll see. I would say if we come down here and we lose 17.5, then it's going to get extremely bearish on Bitcoin here. So if that's the top at this 0.5 at 18.5, we really need to hold 17.5, or BTC is going to take a massive dump, and you'll have this bear flag actually playing out to the downside. So those are the prices to watch on BTC in my opinion. A break over this 18.2 would send us up here to this macro support at this 618 at 18.97, pretty much 19K. A break over 19K, I would say, is your BTC moon line, and a break down below 17.5, then it's going to get extremely bearish for Bitcoin. So, it remains to be seen. 12.5 may be our next target, where we come down here, we consolidate for a while, and then we'll move from there. So I just wanted to point those out for you guys, that if you weren't aware, that BTC tends to follow these patterns almost perfectly. So look for 12.5 to get hit at some point before it's all said and done. So with that said, none of this is financial advice. Thanks for watching, everyone. Peace out.